Hey guys, it's Hono. Before we get into the video, I want to quickly promote this really cute business my friends and I started up called CINNAMAMOON. So if you guys would like to own any of these cute stickers and to support me and my fellow artist friends, the link will be in the description below, and make sure to follow our Instagram to stay updated on our new releases. Before I get into coloring, I want to let you guys know that I am selling the PSD file download for this hair tutorial for just $4. So you all can follow along with the walkthrough or practice coloring on your own later. If you'd like this file, you can find the purchase link in the description below. For those of you who are downloading this file, let's just quickly go over the whole layer situation on the side so you aren't all like, what's happening over here? The first layer we have here is the one named Color Guide, which is just a layer of text explaining the color palettes I provided beside each hair. You can just go ahead and hide that layer by clicking this eye and just refer to it later if you need to. Next, we are followed by 4 layer folders for the pink, black, white, and red hair. The folders all contain, in the same order, the hair color palette, the line art, and I did you guys a favor and filled the base colors in for the hair already. And lastly, we have the skin layer, which I provided for reference, and a dark background color which I use for contrast against the light colored hairs. Here I have all my hair sketched out, and I'm using the G pen to make thin, quick strokes for the hair strands. For the hair, I recommend raising your stabilizer, which you can find over here on Clip Studio Paint, so you can get more smooth lines with the longer strokes. If you aren't using Clip Studio, I know most art programs have a similar feature under a different name like correction, so just go ahead and find that and raise it to a level you're comfortable with. So now we have the line art down and the hair's base color. What we want to do now is make sure you're on the hair's line art layer and select the lock transparent pixels option, which is this icon over here. Now we can recolor the line art using a lighter color, and we want to do this because changing the line art color of the hair can really soften up the coloring and make the hair look a lot more blended. Now with the lock transparent pixels option checked on the hair's base color layer, we want to grab the second shade of our color palette or a darker color of your choice to shade in the shadowed areas of the hair. I'm just using a regular G pen and making sure my shading is rounded around the wavy edges to accentuate the round bulbiness of the hair waves. So one tip I have for shading hair is to try shading with slightly different hues of the base color. For example, rather than just moving the color dropper to a darker shade of pink, try slightly moving the color wheel towards the warmer shades or cooler shades. Or for white hair, instead of shading with gray, try shading with a light low saturated blue or low saturated purple. Being more mindful of your colors can really give your hair a lot more life. Here I'm just using an airbrush tool and the hair's base color to fade out some of the shading. So now we want to take our second shade color or a color darker than our initial shade color and just create more depth within the hair by deepening. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say because most of the time when I'm coloring hair, I don't even know what I'm doing, which is why it took a long time for me to make this video, because like 95% of the time, I just don't know what I'm doing. But I'm here to try and explain what I think I'm doing. Now I'm creating even more depth by using the airbrush tool and one of the hair's shade colors, and I believe I had another layer above this on multiply, and I'm just creating more shadows at the top and the bottom of the hair. So I felt like I needed to darken the shadows of this hair even more, so I included an additional color on the color palette called Multiply, and I'm using that color on another layer, setting that layer's settings to Multiply, and I'm just darkening the areas of the hair I feel needs to be darker. So this part of the coloring is kind of difficult for me to explain because it's a part of my style that I'm still working on and still trying to get better at. But basically what I'm doing is I'm using one of the hair's shade colors, and I don't remember what tool I use exactly. I always change. Sometimes I use the pencil tool, sometimes I use G pen, and sometimes I use dense watercolor. And I'm just making these dark strokes in some areas of the hair And for like wavy hair, I make sure that these strokes are following the directions of the lines of the hair. So it's kind of difficult for me to explain where I put these dark details because like I said, this is something I'm still trying to get better at, and I'm still learning about what looks right and wrong. But hopefully with this video, you guys will kind of get an idea of where I kind of place them. So you might see throughout this video that I don't like some of the details that I drew and I start over multiple times, but that's okay because this whole coloring is a process of trial and error. And honestly, you don't even need to make these details that I'm doing right now to make hair look really good. It's just something that I do personally with my coloring style. So if it's something that you guys can make look good, then that's awesome, good for you. But if it's something that you're not comfortable with doing or isn't your style, then that's fine too. Just do whatever you're comfortable with. This video is just for me to share what I know how to do in hopes that you guys can develop something of your own. So now what I'm doing is I'm using a lighter color to create highlights in the hair using the same shape pattern we used with the dark details of the hair. Now, I didn't include a color in the color palette for the hair highlights because what we want to do is use different shades of brightness throughout the hair because there are darker parts of the hair and there are lighter parts and they're not all going to be the same level of brightness. So by using different shades, we're able to create a more realistic effect. Right, we're almost done coloring the hair, but honestly this part is kind of optional and something that you should use in moderation, otherwise it can make your hair look kind of messy, unless that's what you're trying to go for. So I'm using the G pen and I'm just creating loose strands of hair around the hair to make it look a lot more detailed. Lastly, I forgot to record this part for the pink hair, but basically I'm using the Skin's blush color and an airbrush tool to soften the hairs around the face to create a more glowy effect. Alright you guys, that's about all I have to share for coloring hair. Here I'm just editing the lighting and the colors of the hair, but other than that, I really hope this video was helpful for you guys. If not, feel free to leave questions in the comments below, and I'll try to get to everyone's questions as soon as possible. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to those who supported me by buying my file on Gumroad.